Hey guys, and welcome to the Working Money Channel. Ups and downs, ups and downs. Will the crypto market make up its gosh darn mind? XRP trading at about 38 cents, 0.381. Ethereum 290 and Bitcoin down 3.91%, trading at about 11,200. The entire market cap still holding over 300 billion at 320 billion. And we're seeing here Bitcoin dominance at 62.4%. So Bitcoin's still the dominant factor here. And as you can see, after this run up here, after this leg up, we saw a bit of a sell-off, and now this is Bitcoin on an hourly, by the way, guys. Now we're seeing a little bit of movement upwards again. So ultimately, Bitcoin trading sideways in this pattern, and I think that we are going to see a little bit more of this as the days go on. Let me just put it on a daily for you guys here, and so here's the daily, and when you look at it on the daily, you can see, right, we hit a top, we hit a bottom, and now we're kind of, and we saw another move up here. I feel like what we're going to see is something along these lines, and we're going to slowly get calmer before another move up. The bulls have ultimately taken over, but it's going to take some time for us to continue to see momentum upward, in my opinion. I mean, that could all change tomorrow, but the realism of it is that people are holding their Bitcoin, essentially. They know that we have hit a $20,000 Bitcoin in the past, so why would we panic at this point here? I think this is a lot of profit taking. You know, this sell-off has a lot to do with, I'm sure, some traders making, 450% if they bought at the low back in December. And that's a good return, for any investment, 450%, whatever. That's solid. So I could see why some people might do that. I mean, realistically, though, we have hit a high of 20,000, so I don't see this coming down further. I don't see us really correcting anytime soon. I think what we're ultimately eyeing, and what everybody is ultimately eyeing for Bitcoin, is for it to rise once again to 20,000 before FOMO kicks in and more gains are made. I think by the time it hits 20,000, that's when we'll start hearing more news about Bitcoin in the mainstream media, and that could trigger the altcoins to take off as well. Just throwing it out there. Bitcoin investors locking up supply and refusing to sell in 2019. And again, this is just what I was talking about. Crypto analyst Willy Woo says more Bitcoin investors are hodling than usual during this current resurgence, and that the currency might need to form a base from which the main bull run can launch. Wu says that the 2019 bull season could be mimicking the structure of Bitcoin's 2012 jump in value. The analyst notes BTC could consolidate between 7,800 and 9,000 before embarking on a true organic bull run. And so this is Willy Woo at Woonomic on Twitter giving us his point of view here with this chart. Guys, I will link this in the description if you want to go over it a little further. But let me just go back to that chart here. So as you can see, guys, we are seeing patterns. Okay, this is over time. This is since 2010, if you can see down there. So 2010, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 20. Okay, and you can see patterns continue, okay? Patterns will continue over time. And so his thought is that we will consolidate roughly around this period here where we're at before we continue to see movement upwards. So an interesting perspective from Woonomic on Twitter. And I saw this here, CNBC's crypto trader, small country considering plans to back its currency with Bitcoin. So the host of CNBC's Crypto Trader says an unnamed country is taking a close look at backing its currency with Bitcoin. Rand Nooner says he signed a non-disclosure agreement and can't reveal which country is exploring BTC. He thinks the proposal is a long shot, but calls it an important sign of things to come. So this is the tweet from Rand Nooner. There is a proposal from a small country to back their currency with Bitcoin. Though the country is very small, and I doubt that this iteration will be passed, it's a clear sign of the direction we are moving in. It's also a great idea. So very interesting that governments have such faith, well, some governments, of course, such faith in cryptocurrency that they are actually willing to take the leap and use Bitcoin to back their own currency. Very, very interesting, and I think Rand Nooner has a good point here. This is a sign of things to come. Whether it be Bitcoin or another cryptocurrency, nudge, nudge, wink, wink, I could see XRP being one of those cryptocurrencies that countries will eventually use in that capacity. Maybe not next year, maybe not even in the next couple of years, but down the road, once the crypto space gains more legitimacy in the eyes of the world, I think we're going to start seeing a lot more of this. Most definitely. Put it in the comments if you might have an idea. This one here, Libra will not necessarily work with the financial system, but transform it completely, says a Ripple executive. So this from Marjan Delantine. So Ripple's global head of banking, Marjan Delantine, spoke to GTR regarding the same and shared her thoughts. Delantine said that the likes of Facebook and JP Morgan entering this space provides more credibility to the already amazing technology with massive scrutiny from the regulators. So she says here, so the more names, the better. For us, it's just a validation of what we have been saying for 7 years. So she's speaking to the fact that Facebook is releasing a cryptocurrency. Delantine added that Facebook's business model is slightly different from ours, meaning Ripple, and that they are working in the consumer space where they have the network. Although Libra was just a vision which will change over the coming years, Delantine said their approach is not necessarily that they are going to work with the financial system. They want to completely transform it and bring a completely different experience. So Delantine implies Facebook not wanting to work with the current system. They want to turn the system over on its head, shake up what the current system is doing, and giving banks a bit of a hard time. Furthermore, she added that Ripple's approach was quite different and that they are working with the system, banks, regulators, and the payment providers to help make the space more secure and efficient. Speaking about plans of Ripple in the near future, she stated, now our focus is on the critical mass that we are building in terms of users. The first priority for us is volume. If I compare to 2 years ago when the network went live, it is amazing. The network is really growing fast, and you see the network effects with the numbers that are added on a weekly basis. We are continuing to build this momentum. And I said this yesterday with regards to Ripple technology and Facebook. Banks will get anxious because Facebook will be turning the industry on its head. And so who will banks run to? Banks will have to run to a company who already has the technology in order for them to catch up quickly. So long as they pay their licensing fee, they can use RippleNet, tap into the system, and retain their business for people who are likely to just use Facebook in order to do those, smaller types of transactions. Anyway, we'll see how it goes. This one here, Ripple's global head of banking, breaks down how MoneyGram's partnership is good for the ecosystem. And again, this is from Marjan Delantine. She was recently at the Global Blockchain Summit. So Delantine said that the most significant development for Ripple happened last week, which was the partnership of MoneyGram, as we all know. So MoneyGram is one of the largest payment service providers worldwide. It has a very big footprint on the remittance business. And more importantly, it is going to use one of our key products, XRP, to transfer funds. MoneyGram is one of the largest remittance companies in the world, and so this goes on talking a little bit about XRP and how it's used, what it's used for. But Delantine added, but we don't talk enough about liquidity, and this is where the real cost of cross-border payments exists. Today, trillions of dollars are tied up in pre-funded accounts around the world by banks in order to make sure that the exchange of value in the correspondent banking system is happening. The use case that we have around XRP is that rather than tying up capital, we reconcile the transfer of the messages and the value itself. XRP is about sourcing on-demand liquidity. So liquidity, the name of the game, using XRP to do so. And now Ripple has the opportunity to work with one of the biggest remittance companies in the world to really test that at scale. Guys, I'm so excited to see this MoneyGram thing roll out, as I'm sure many of you are as well. And finally on Twitter, this sent to me from XRP_Canada. Tag me in this tweet here from Ganesh Hiremath. That's at Ganesh Hiremath on Twitter. And this, an allegedly leaked IMF white paper of the eSDR revealed cross-border payments is a $22 trillion problem, and see how the eSDR can help mitigate that. So let me read you a little bit of this here. E-currency eSDR solution, cross-border payments powered by e-currency, the eSDR. This white paper examines the opportunities to reduce costs, increase efficiency, mitigate counterparty risk, and improve transparency of cross-border payments using the e-currency eSDR. And so for those of you who do not know, the SDR is the special drawing rights. Special drawing rights are supplementary foreign exchange reserve assets defined and maintained by the International Monetary Fund. The SDR is the unit of account for the IMF and is not a currency per se. SDRs instead represent a claim to currency held by IMF member countries for which they may be exchanged. Guys, we know the IMF's ties with Ripple, and we know the IMF want to implement Ripple tech for their member countries. When we go back to this talks about cross-border payments using an eSDR. And so when you put two and two together, it seems as though they are not saying it out loud, but I could only imagine that they are talking about XRP. So cross-border payments using the e-currency eSDR solution for financial service providers and central banks. The solution would enable participating financial service providers to issue, transact, and settle with eSDR, a global digital composite asset of stable value, which utilizes the International Monetary Fund's special drawing right as a reference currency basket. The same technology can, of course, be used with other suitable regional currency baskets as a reference point. The development of the eSDR solution has its genesis in a speech by Christine Lagarde, managing director of the International Monetary Fund, delivered September 2017 at the Bank of England, in which she said, "The fund will also have to be open to change, to considering a role for a digital vision of the SDR." Cross-border payments witnessing rapid expansion. So cross-border payments are set to continue to expand at a rapid pace. One key driver is growing international trade, not only in goods, but now increasingly in advanced services, including e-commerce and digital services such as Airbnb and Uber. Meanwhile, demand from foreign investment flows remain substantial, along with workers' remittances bolstered both by greater volume of migration and migrant incomes. Furthermore, retail as well as corporate transactions are driving overall value of cross-border payments to rise, wait for it guys, from $22 trillion in 2016 to $30 trillion by 2022. The problem is only getting bigger, and what better company to help alleviate some of these pains than Ripple? So thanks so much, Ganesh Hiremath, for posting this on Twitter. And again, a huge thanks to @XRP_Canada for sending me this link. Sounds like the wheels are in motion, but I want to hear what you guys think. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Like the video if you like the content I'm providing. I always love hearing your comments. See you in the next one, guys.